If you were thinking of quitting, y'all, maybe you should quit now. Alright guys, what's up? It's me, Tommy. Oh, and today I'm going to be talking about the Great Resignation. What is it? Should I be quitting? Why are YouTube faves? They're all quitting their 9-to-5 jobs, and should you too? That's what I'm going to be discussing in today's video. Also, before we get started, I want to apologize for my dishwasher. I'm not too sure if you guys can hear it or not, but next time I choose to film, I'll make sure that the dishwasher is not going on. Let's get started. So a lot of people have been quitting. I don't know if you guys seen your 9-to-5 jobs, if people are quitting, but I know that a couple of my coworkers have left, and I know that a lot of my friends' coworkers have left, and there's just a max like exodus of people quitting or just deciding to start their hobbies and do and pursue entrepreneurship opportunities. A lot of other people are seeing that a lot of people are quitting, which leads me to my next point. If you were thinking of leaving, I think this is the best time to leave. There are a lot of people who are reevaluating whether their compensation is worth their time with their families. Is it worth having to work on the weekends? Is it worth all these other things? People are seeing their priorities, and people are prioritizing family. People are prioritizing their dreams. People are betting on themselves, you know. And if you've ever been thinking about leaving your job, this might be the time. This might be the time if you planned it, if you have some savings, you have a cushion, you have at least 6 months, at least 6 months of expenses saved up. Maybe you're probably part of the people who have been thinking about leaving their job. Personally, for me, I don't think I want to leave my job anytime soon. I feel comfortable. My employers value me. I think it's also because I work for a smaller company. I know that my bosses care about my time. I feel appreciated, but I know that that's not the same for everyone, especially in my field. I'm an accountant, and I know that burnout is real, and a lot of people work for bigger companies, so you don't feel as appreciated as I might feel, which is unfortunate, but I understand if that's your scenario. And I think a lot of this stuff is happening in the US particularly, and not in other countries. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the US, a lot of people, we subscribe to the idea of if I work harder, if I'm more loyal, I'll get paid more in the end, and that's definitely not the case. In a lot of other countries, people don't work on Saturdays, people don't work on Sundays, you know, people just work their 9-to-5, people just, you know, people don't work to live. A lot of people just work because, you know, they have a family to take care of, but their priorities are other things. Their priorities are their mental health. Their priorities are the family. Their priorities are having their time, because in society you can't buy time. That's something you can't buy. A lot of people, their priority isn't work. Their priority isn't keeping their job. You know, a lot of people, they just have a job and it's not their life. But in the US, a lot of people's job is their life. When you ask people, you're like, what are you? People are like, I'm an accountant, like me. Or they're like, oh, I'm a financial analyst, or I don't know, or I'm a Lyft driver. You know, people don't say, oh, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, a brother. Those things come secondary to their job title in America, and I think that should really change. And I think this Great Resignation is really opening people up to other possibilities that they never thought would happen. I think a lot of people who never probably thought of quitting are quitting, and that's great. It's letting people take charge. It's letting people be their boss of their own life, you know. A lot of people have seen a lifestyle change, especially with the pandemic. A lot of things weren't available. People went without. People realized, I can scale down my monthly expenses and just take a job that gives me the opportunity, a lower paying job, if not the same equivalent job, but I have a lot more free time. I can spend time with my family. I can spend time with my husband, my wife, whatever. and I can do hobbies that I enjoy. And I think that's completely different. I think if it wasn't for the pandemic that happened or is still happening, a lot of people wouldn't have come to this realization as soon as they are. I think a lot of people have come to the realization that your employer pretty much tells you what to spend your time on. They determine your week, they determine your weekends, they determine if you're stressed or not. You know, like, jobs shouldn't be this stressful. You should love your employer, you should feel valued by your employer. And this leads me to my next point. There's a lot of job shortages, and because there's a lot of job shortages, the people who are left in these jobs and positions have to pick up the slack for these other employees and their previous coworkers who have left, and it's making them want to quit too, because if I'm doing my job and I'm doing somebody else's job, it's a lot. And a lot of people are just choosing not to go back into the workforce. People are choosing to go back to school to further their education. People are realizing that they don't even like the field that they're in at all. People are realizing that if they can't work remote, they don't want to work at all. You know, and I commend those people. I'm not at that stage in my life yet where I feel comfortable doing that, but I really respect people who are able to realize, hey, this is what's best for me, my mental health, this is what's best for my family, this might not be this is what's best for me financially. Also, if you were thinking of quitting, y'all, maybe you should quit now, because if you think about it, if you stay at your current employer, even though you might like them, if you think about it, even at your annual like review, it's easy, you might get maybe max a 10% bonus in your same role. You might get promoted now because that person who held the job that's above you left. You might just get promoted, but I think it's always wiser to, not always, it might be wiser from an purely economic standpoint to move jobs, like move companies and then move up. Because why would your current employer pay you 20% more to do your same job? It doesn't make sense. So if you move companies and then you move up a position, that makes a lot more sense, and you can definitely exponentially grow your income that way, or your salary that way. I think also this Great Resignation opened people's mind to see like what their employer really thinks of them. A lot of people, their employers let them go during the pandemic. People realized that their bosses don't care about them. People realized that they were expendable. People realized that they weren't essential, you know. So I don't blame people for leaving the market. If I wasn't happy in my position, I would definitely leave right now too. And I don't think it would be super hard to find a job if you're a good worker, you have a decent resume. So if you guys want to make the move, go ahead. As for me, right now I am okay right where I'm at. But let me know down below if you guys are thinking about leaving your job, if you're thinking about asking for a hybrid job situation, if you're thinking about going back to school or furthering your education somehow, if you're thinking about starting a side hustle that you hope to become your full-time job in the future, please let me know down below, and I will see you guys next time. Until next time, adios.